What's up, savvy expats? In today's video, we're discussing what to do with your free time in the Philippines. This is a list of 15 things to do. Alright, without wasting time, let's get into it. So the first thing to do with your free time in the Philippines is leisure activities. You already know the usuals you always hear about. Go to the beaches, visit the museums, go hiking and camping, do water sports like snorkeling, kayaking, surfing, and diving. All of these are a given when using your free time in the Philippines. But the absolute biggest leisure activity in the Philippines is going to the malls. The Philippines is the definition of malling culture, so you may find yourself, just like the locals, going to the malls often in this country. As for me, my personal favorite thing to do is go for a walk when in the city, and when in the province, visit the beaches. Nothing speaks to Philippines more than soaking up the sun, swimming in tropical waters, and eating in nipa huts afterwards. Yet another leisure activity to experience here is exploring the caves. A couple caves to check out is BANAHAW Cave in Quezon Province, sorry if I pronounced that wrong, and SUMAGUING Cave in Sagada. If you are claustrophobic, however, a few hiking activities not in a cave is hiking, biking, baking, camping, bowling, board games, or simply just going out to eat. Now for the second thing to do with your free time in the Philippines, that is volunteer work. If you have a heart for the people here, there are several foundations and nonprofits to volunteer at. To name a few, you have I Volunteer Philippines, Habitat for Humanity Philippines, Hands On Manila Foundation, and the Red Cross. If you don't want to participate in any of these nonprofit organizations, you can either just donate or your local church will have mission trips. When my family first moved to the Philippines, we would help out in the orphanages in Tondo, Manila, and out in the province. Then we met a family from our church, an expat from Boston with a Filipino wife. They adopted 2 boys here, and we volunteer at their Created for Good Works Foundation. And then I also know that some of you guys are doing volunteer work at the Red Cross and doing missionary work in Mindanao, which is amazing. Now moving on to the third thing to do with your free time in the Philippines, that is to pick up a hobby. Whether it be cultivating a garden, playing golf, or cooking, hobbies are a crucial thing to have in the Philippines. One of the best things that I can suggest for a retiring expat moving to the Philippines is to keep yourself busy. Many expats come here to the Philippines and lose all sense of purpose because they do nothing with their time. And that leads them to become bitter, and all they do is complain and gossip during the day. So when living in the Philippines, do something useful with your time and hands. Like I said, you can cultivate a garden, you can go biking, and you can play tennis like myself. All that matters is that you keep a routine so that you don't get bored. And this is especially if you're in the province. If you're not keeping yourself busy, life can get dull out there. Even if you're retiring or just settling down, still keep yourself busy and set some goals for yourself to keep your mind right. For some, it could just be as simple as a crossword puzzle. For others, it can be dancing. Just stay busy. Now, for the fourth thing to do with your free time in the Philippines is to find your go-to places. Whether it be your favorite place to get pizza, your favorite cafe in town, favorite coffee shop, or your favorite place to shop, every expat has their go-to places in the Philippines. For us, when we first settled down in the Philippines, we felt like we could not find any of the food items that we missed from in the States. We struggled to find good pizza, good bacon, good milk, good steak, all of these rare food items here. But as time went on, we started saying things like, oh, this is a place that has some authentic pizza, we'll go here from now. Or, oh, this grocery store has the best steak and milk, while this grocery store has the best fruits and vegetables. And so just like us, as time goes on, you'll build a system of your go-to places here. Now that we lived here for over 3 years, we found the places we do like, the places we don't like, and the places for this item or that item. It's all down to a science. Just give it some time, and the longer you live here, the more you'll lack less and less. And that leads me to my next point. The fifth thing to do with your free time in the Philippines is to navigate where you're living. When moving to a new place, you know nothing about the streets, the layout, etc. So take some time out of your day to navigate the area and walk around the neighborhood. You don't want to be living there for over a year and still not know what direction to take to get to a certain place. So determine what you'll need on a daily basis, find the places that provide those needs, and find the best routes to take to get to those places. Overall, just get a feel for the area. area. Now for the sixth thing to do with your free time in the Philippines, that is to experience the nightlife. If you live in the major cities of the Philippines, the nightlife scene is very lively, especially in Manila. So if you want to go out for a drink or go dancing, you can go to the clubs here and have a good time. For example, when nighttime comes around, people from all over Manila flock to BGC and Makati for the lively nightlife scene. So if this is something that you enjoy, add it to the list. Now for the seventh thing to do with your free time, that is to visit the resorts. One of the nicest ways to spend your weekend is to go to a resort and chill out. You can enjoy the meals there, lay out on the beach, and swim in the pools. And the nice part about the Philippines is that you have a wide range of resorts of all different budget ranges. So just as you can stay in a Filipino style nipa hut, you can also stay in a private luxury villa. There's something for everyone. Or if there's a particular place that you always wanted to check out, like La Union or Siquijor, just book the best resort for an ideal experience. Now for the eighth thing to do with your free time in the Philippines, that is to hang out with your friends. Once you finally have your established friend group in the Philippines, you guys can go out golfing, get a bite to eat, or get some coffee. Hanging out with friends is the most simple yet fun way to spend your time in any country you go to. And I highly suggest when moving to the Philippines, if you have no contacts here, try to find some friends to hang out with. For example, if you enjoy playing tennis, look for a tennis Facebook group in your area and boom, you have some friends. Or if you see the same person at the same time at your favorite coffee shop every day, just strike up a conversation. It's as simple as that. Moving on to the ninth thing to do with your free time in the Philippines, that is to plan additional income streams. Of course, it doesn't hurt to have a little bit more in the bank to support your lifestyle in the Philippines. Even if you enjoy simple living and your expenses are low, build other income streams with your free time. This will not only give you more to save, but also provide you with more flexibility in your lifestyle. So whether it be starting your own blog documenting your experiences in the Philippines, doing a side hustle, or putting your money in investments, these are all positive things to do with your free time. Now for the 10th thing to do with your free time in the Philippines, that is to go malling. As I mentioned earlier, malling culture in the Philippines is everywhere. Most people spend their free time in the Philippines going to the malls here, not only to shop and eat, but also because of the air conditioning. And malls is simply something that you shouldn't and can't avoid in the Philippines. First of all, you have malls practically in every single town in the Philippines. And secondly, the malls here are ginormous. I don't know if this is actually an established term or statement, but the Philippines is supposedly the mall capital of Asia. This is probably because we have MOA, or the Mall of Asia, because it's the biggest mall of Asia. So you can spend half or even a full day at the malls here and still not see everything there is to see here. Moving on to the 11th thing to do with your free time in the Philippines, that is to simply exercise. If you're going to the malls to eat, balance it out with getting some exercise. It can simply be going to the park to do some bodyweight exercises, or going to the gyms and signing up for a membership. Or even more simple than that, just go for a walk. Whenever my brother and I go out to the park to work out every day, we see these same expats going on their daily walk at the same time consistently every single day. For me, one of my favorite things to do is to exercise at the local park, as there's a pull-up bar. And not to mention, you already know how bad some of the hospitals are in the Philippines, so keep your health in tip-top shape. Moving on to the 12th way to spend your free time in the Philippines, that is to cook or bake. I don't know about you guys, but I'm a foodie. I love to eat, so whenever my family has the time, we'll make homemade pizza from scratch, beef stroganoff, or what I'm personally craving right now, some lasagna. As a matter of fact, one of the businesses that my sister started here was a bake shop. So out of the kitchen in our condo, she'd make the best banana bread, cookies, and my personal favorite, tiramisu. If your interests align with this, you can do the same with your own side hustle. But man oh man, my sister makes the best tiramisu because she gets the ingredients at a local deli here in BGC. And then we also found a place that makes authentic cannolis. Being from Chicago, the only thing missing now is an Italian beef, deep dish pizza, and Garrett's popcorn. Comment down below if you like any of this stuff as much as I do. Moving on to the 13th way to spend your free time in the Philippines, that is to visit the local markets. Simply put, the markets here were a different experience than what we were used to, especially the wet markets. So if you're up to practice your haggling skills, or you're looking for the most inexpensive deals, then going to the markets here may be your thing. Now for the 14th way to spend your free time in the Philippines, that is journaling or documenting. One of the things that I did in the past was journal my expectations of the Philippines versus the reality. Not only that, but you can also journal your goals when living in this country, talk about what life is like living here, or even document your experiences here on video. As you can tell, this is what I personally do. Now, for the 15th and last thing to do with your free time in the Philippines, that is to get a dog. For some of you moving to the Philippines by yourself, getting a dog may be in your best interest. Not only can it keep you company, but it also forces you to go out for walks more. I will warn you though, if you're planning on bringing your dog from the US to the Philippines, it's very expensive. The same guy from Boston I talked about earlier, it costed him $8,000 to fly his golden retriever out to the Philippines. But either way, getting a dog in the Philippines may be of some interest to you. So there you have it, savvy expats. That is 15 things to do with your free time in the Philippines. This was mostly just a general list. It was nothing very specific to the country of the Philippines itself other than the leisure activities. So if there's anything that I missed, be sure to comment it down below. If you got any value out of this, a like and subscribe would be greatly appreciated. And so thank you for watching, savvy expats, and I'll see you in the next video. God bless.